Hello my dear students and welcome back to Zenith Academy Online. My name is Shagufta Jaipuri and we are on the much awaited video part 6 of the chapter Acids, Base and Salts for ICSE class 10. Now in this module we will be studying about salts. We will study about the different types of salts and the general methods of preparation of salts. Now students, let's go on to salt formation. How is this salt formed? So salts are described as ionic compounds. Okay children, salts are ionic compounds which contain cations that are positive charges and anions which are negative charges. Now salts are compounds that are formed when acids react with base. So we know when acid react with base, salt and water is formed. This is neutralization reaction, where the base donates the cations and the acid donates the anion. Now see here, suppose we take the acid HCl and a base sodium hydroxide, that is NaOH. Now we know when HCl reacts with NaOH, NaCl salt is formed and water is formed. Okay. So from this acid we see this is positive, H plus is positive and chlorine minus is negative. Okay. So the base donates the cation and acid donates the anion. So acid is donating the anion. Okay. That is, acid is donating this anion. Okay. And base is donating this cation. This is sodium plus and hydroxide minus. So what is base donating? Base is donating a cation and acid is donating an anion. So when these cations, that is Na plus and Cl minus combines, it forms the salt sodium chloride. So what is salt? Salt is an ionic compound, okay, that is formed when acid react with base, where base donates the cation and acid donates the anion. So I hope this is clear to you. So students, just now we understood that salts are formed due to chemical reaction between a base and an acid. So here the example, NaOH and HCl forms NaCl and water. So there has to be water. So this type of reaction is known as neutralization reaction. Now here complete replacement of hydrogen ion by metal or ammonium ion has taken place. Okay. So this ion is a metallic ion and this replaces the hydrogen ion. Now this metallic ion is known as a basic radical. Okay. So here you can see this example, ammonium hydroxide NH4OH. Okay. Now if we take this as a base and HCl as an acid, now here hydrogen will be replaced by this whole cation. Okay. Now this is not a cation, this will be replaced by this whole radical. Okay, because this is a radical, ammonium radical NH4 plus. Okay, so instead of a metallic ion, there is a basic radical which also does the same thing. It replaces the hydrogen. Now when it replaces the hydrogen, it forms NH4, Cl and water. So this is complete replacement of hydrogen. So whatever number of hydrogen were there are replaced by either a metal or a basic radical. Now in this example you can see sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid. Okay. Now here there are two hydrogens. See, there is 1 and 2 hydrogen and then sulfate. Okay. So if this hydrogen is replaced by this metal ion, that is cation, then we will form NaHSO4. Okay, only one hydrogen is replaced. So now we are left with OH and H. So it forms water. So here this type of a salt that we get has an extra hydrogen. That is why it is known as a acidic or acid salt. Okay, we will study about acid salt further in our lecture. But right now you just understand that salts are formed either by complete replacement of hydrogen atom or by partial replacement of hydrogen ion by metal or any basic radical. Okay. Students, salts are also formed by reaction with metal and an acid. So here you can see an acid, and there are active metals which can directly replace this hydrogen and form salt and hydrogen gas. Now salts can also be formed by a direct reaction of a metal and a non-metal. Here you can see lithium and chlorine gas. This is a metal, this is a non-metal, it forms a salt. Now it can be formed also from two salts. So salts can also form if solutions of different salts are mixed and there is double decomposition. So here you can see there are two salt solutions. So here lead is the cation and nitrate is the anion. Here sodium is the cation and sulfate is the anion. So now this lead comes and sits over here, and this sodium takes the place of this lead. So now lead sulfate and sodium nitrate are obtained. So these two are again salts. So there is double decomposition. Now students, let's talk about the different types of salts. So first type of salt that we'll study are normal salts. So these are formed by complete replacement of ionizable hydrogen atoms of an acid by metallic ion or ammonium ion. We already studied the complete replacement. Okay. Now here in such type of salts, no hydrogen or OH is formed in the formula. Okay. So if you see K2SO4 is an example of normal salt, calcium sulfate, KCl, that is potassium chloride, and sodium chloride. In all of these, there is no hydrogen or OH minus ion, okay, in the salt. So let's see an example. We have taken potassium hydroxide and reacted it with sulfuric acid. Now here we have mentioned that complete replacement of ionizable hydrogen atom takes place. So this potassium ion comes and replace both the hydrogen. Okay, so now it will form K2SO4 and water. So here you can see in the formula there is no hydrogen or there is no OH. Okay, now normal salts does not contain any replaceable hydrogen atom in its molecule. So if you see, there are no hydrogen atoms in the molecule. So these are normal salts which are formed by complete replacement of ionizable hydrogen atom of an acid. Okay. Now what are acid salts? So students, these are formed by partial replacement of replaceable hydrogen ions of an acid by metal or ammonium ion or basic radical. Okay, and it contains H in the formula. So you can see here potassium hydrogen sulfate, sodium hydrogen sulfate, calcium hydrogen sulfate. In all of them there is one hydrogen. You can see here this presence of hydrogen. So see this reaction, sodium hydroxide and H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid. So we know sulfuric acid has two hydrogen, H and sulfate ion. Okay. So if one of the hydrogen is replaced by this sodium, then we form sodium hydrogen sulfate or sodium bisulfate and water. So acid salts can further react with alkalis. Now since it has one hydrogen extra, okay, you can see this NaHSO4. So there is one extra replaceable hydrogen. So this can react with alkali or base to form normal salts. Okay. So here you can see this sodium bisulfate. It is again reacting with an alkali, sodium hydroxide. Now this hydrogen will be replaced by this sodium. Okay, so now it will form Na2 since one more sodium has come. So Na2SO4 plus water. Now acid salts contain a replaceable hydrogen atom. We said it contains a replaceable hydrogen atom in the molecule. Okay, so therefore it exhibits all the properties of an acid in a solution. That is, it ionizes to give H plus or H3O plus ions. Okay, so basically acid salts behave like acid in the solution because it has one replaceable hydrogen. So it forms H plus. Now this H plus reacts with water to form hydronium ion. And this ion we know is responsible for the acidic behavior. Okay. So acid salts exhibit all the properties of an acid in a solution. So now if you see these acids, now from these acids, acid salts and normal salts can be formed. Now we know how acid salts are formed by partial replacement of the hydrogen, and normal salts are formed by complete replacement of hydrogen. But see, in this there is only one hydrogen. Here also there is one replaceable hydrogen. So in all three of them, the formation of acid salt is not possible, right? Since there is only one replaceable hydrogen atom. So what normal salt can you form with this acid? Okay. You can react it with any base, say NaOH, and replace this hydrogen with this sodium and form a salt NaNO3. Here also you can react with sodium hydroxide. There is only one replaceable hydrogen, so it will form NaCl. Here also there is only one replaceable hydrogen, so if you react it with NaOH, which salt it will form? Sodium will come here, so it will form sodium acetate. Okay. Now here there are two replaceable hydrogen atoms. Okay. So if we react it with sodium hydroxide, what will happen? If this sodium replaces only one of the hydrogen, then it will form NaHCO3, sodium bicarbonate. This is an acid salt because it has a replaceable hydrogen. And if both the sodium, say if we take two molecules and both the sodium replaces both the hydrogen, then it will form sodium carbonate, Na2CO3. Okay. Now H2SO3, there are also two replaceable hydrogen atoms. So if one is replaced, then it will form NaHSO3. And if I replace both of them, it will form Na2SO3. Now if we take sulfuric acid, this was sulfurous acid and this is sulfuric acid, and we react with NaOH. Okay. Now if one hydrogen is replaced, we get NaHSO4, and if we take two NaOH and replace both these hydrogen, then Na2SO4 is formed. So here it is formed sodium sulfite and here sodium sulfate. Now here there are three replaceable hydrogen atoms. Okay. So if I take NaOH, first I replace only one hydrogen. So it will form NaH2PO4. And then if I replace two hydrogen, it can form Na2HPO4. Okay. And if I replace all the three hydrogen atoms with sodium, then it will form Na3PO4, sodium phosphate. Okay. So by partial replacement of the hydrogen of the acid, acid salts are formed, and by complete replacement of hydrogen, normal salts are formed. I hope you have understood the difference between acid salt and normal salts. Now let's go ahead and learn about basic salts. Now students, let's talk about basic salts. So these salts are formed by the partial replacement of hydroxyl radical of diacidic or a triacidic base with an acid radical, and it contains OH in the formula. Now what is diacidic or triacidic base? See, sodium hydroxide, it is a monoacidic base because it has one replaceable OH. Okay. Now if we say calcium hydroxide, okay, this has 2 hydroxyl. Okay. Or if we say aluminium hydroxide, it has 3 hydroxides. Okay. So this is a diacidic base and this is a triacidic base. Okay. And if we do partial replacement, that is we replace one OH or here 2 OH, okay, in the form, then it forms basic salts and it contains OH in the formula. You can see here, there is one OH in the formula In this also there is one OH in the formula. So whenever you see an OH in the formula, it means it is a basic salt. So it contains a cation. So this is the cation, copper. Here lead is a cation. So it contains a metallic part. It contains a hydroxyl ion of a base. So here you can see the hydroxyl ion of the base, and it contains an anion of the acid. So this is the anion of the acid nitric acid. This is also anion of the acid nitric acid. So here let's see how to form it. Now this is lead hydroxide. It is a diacidic base. Okay. When this reacts with hydrochloric acid, then one of the OH is replaced here. So we write PbOHCl. Okay. So there is one anion, one cation of the base, one OH and one anion of the acid. So PbOHCl, and water is released. Now basic salts can react with acid. Now since it has, see this example, PbOHCl. Now since it has this OH radical, okay, that is why they can react with acid to form normal salts. Let's see here. This is a basic salt. This is reacting with acid to form a normal salt, copper chloride and water. So this is actually behaving like a base or an alkali. So base plus acid is forming normal salt and water. Right. So we saw that acidic salt was behaving like an acid in the solution. Similarly, this behaves like a base or an alkali in the solution. So now that we have studied about normal salt, acidic salt and basic salt, there are also different types of salts here: double salt, mixed salt and complex salt. So it is very important to differentiate between these three types of salts because they are very closely related and students always make a mistake. So now let's see how double salt is formed. It is formed by mixing saturated solutions of two simple salts. So you take two simple salts, the solutions of those two simple salts, and then crystallization. So mixing the saturated solutions of two simple salts followed by crystallization of the saturated solution, and therefore it contains two simple salts which are chemically combined. Let us see and understand it with the examples. So first example is alum. Here you can see alum is also known as potash alum. The formula of alum is K2SO4 dot Al2SO4 whole thrice dot 24H2O. So these are the two simple salts which are combined chemically. So these types of salts are called double salts. Okay. Then another example is ferrous ammonium sulfate, which is also known as Morse salt. Here you can see ammonium sulfate dot iron sulfate dot 6H2O. Okay. Now mixed salts, there is no general method of formation of mixed salt, but you should remember that two or more basic radicals. Okay, there has to be two or more basic radicals. Basic radicals are metallic radicals, or you can say acidic radicals. So there has to be two or more basic radicals or acid radicals. So here if you see, sodium potassium carbonate is an example. So there is sodium, which is a basic radical. There is potassium. So there are two basic radicals, and there is CO3, which is an acid radical. Okay. Now bleaching powder. Now bleaching powder, which is this. Okay, I'll write it here: calcium and OCl and then Cl. Here you can see there are two anions. Okay, two anions. So two acid radicals are there. So in double salt there are two simple salts. Here there are two acidic or basic radicals. Now what are complex salts? They are formed by mixing saturated solutions of simple salts followed by crystallization of the saturated solution. It is formed similar to double salt. But here what is the difference in what it contains? It contains a simple ion and a complex ion, which are formed by formed on dissociation. So here if you see the example, potassium mercuric iodide, K2HgI4. Okay, so this is a coordinate compound. Okay, whatever is there in the square bracket is a complex ion. Okay, and whatever is outside is a simple ion. So when it dissociates, it forms K plus and it forms HgI4 minus. Okay, on dissociation. So this is a complex ion and this is a simple ion. So whenever you see a salt which has a simple ion and a complex ion, you can easily say it is a complex salt. Okay, whenever you see two cations or maybe two anions like this, you say it is a mixed salt. And whenever you see two simple salts chemically combined, it is a double salt. So here different examples are sodium AgCN2. So here it is very easy to identify. If there is a square bracket, it means there has to be a complex ion. Okay. Now sodium zinc Na2ZnO2, sodium zincate, here this is a complex and this is a simple ion. Tetraamine copper 2 sulfate. So you see a square bracket here. So this is a complex and this is a simple anion. So just by seeing the examples, you should be able to differentiate between double salt, mixed salt and complex salts. So now we should learn which salts are soluble and which are insoluble salts. Okay. So here you can see all the sodium, potassium and ammonium salts are soluble in water. Okay. And all the nitrates and nitrites are also soluble. All the bicarbonates are soluble. But here potassium bicarbonate and sodium bicarbonate are sparingly soluble. Now all the sulfates are soluble, but lead sulfate, silver sulfate, calcium sulfate and barium sulfate are insoluble. Then all the chlorides are soluble, whereas PbCl2, that is lead chloride, silver chloride, mercury chloride are insoluble, and this PbCl2 is soluble in hot water. Now all the sulfides are insoluble, all the sulfide are insoluble, all carbonates are insoluble, all the oxides are insoluble, all hydroxides and all phosphates are insoluble. But if you see here, sodium, potassium and ammonium sulfides, carbonates, oxides, hydroxides and phosphate, all of them, if it contains these ions, sodium, potassium and ammonium, so sodium, potassium and ammonium sulfides, carbonates, oxides, hydroxide and phosphates are soluble. Okay. Now students, let's see the general methods of salt preparation. So first method is direct combination or synthesis. So here two elements are directly heated together to get a compound. So when iron and sulfur are heated, they form ferrous sulfide, which is an insoluble salt. Zinc and sulfur when reacts, it forms zinc sulfide. Lead and sulfur forms lead sulfide. So we know all sulfides are insoluble. Then sodium and chlorine gas forms NaCl. This is sodium chloride also is formed by direct combination of sodium and chlorine gas. So this is a soluble salt. We all know that sodium chloride is a soluble salt, and iron and chlorine also form FeCl3, which is also a soluble salt. So direct combination is very easy. Now students, let's talk about neutralization reaction. Now insoluble base and acid will give soluble salt and water. Okay. So remember, we have taken insoluble base. So copper oxide, metal oxides are base. So this is insoluble, lead oxide is insoluble, copper hydroxide is insoluble and lead hydroxide is insoluble. So when these insoluble bases react with different acids, we get soluble salt. So copper oxide plus sulfuric acid is forming copper sulfate and water. Copper sulfate is soluble. Lead oxide and nitric acid forms lead nitrate, which is soluble. Copper hydroxide and sulfuric acid forms copper sulfate and water. Copper sulfate is soluble. Lead hydroxide and nitric acid forms lead nitrate, where lead nitrate is soluble. So this is how you can form soluble salt with the help of neutralization reaction. So now let's talk about neutralization reaction for production of salt, in which titration is involved. Now in this method we can use only soluble bases and acid, because in this we have to take a solution of base, that is we have to take an alkali. So neutralization involves neutralizing a soluble base with an acid. So known volume of base or alkali is titrated with acid, and the amount of acid needed for the neutralization, okay, is noted. Now how do we know how much acid is needed? It is indicated by change in color of the indicator. Okay. Now the same amount of acid and alkali are now mixed without adding the indicator. Now once we do the titration, we know the amount of acid and base which are required. So now the same amount of acid and alkali are now mixed in an evaporating dish. Okay, now this time we don't add the indicator. Now on evaporation, the crystals of salt are obtained. So let's see how it happens. So here you can see in the conical flask what I have taken. I have taken a fixed volume of alkali. Okay, so I have measured the fixed volume of alkali by using a pipette. Okay, and I have added the alkali here. Here again we have added indicator. Okay, what is the role of indicator? All of us already know that indicator shows a color change, okay, when neutralization reaction happens. So now this is the acid, and when we open this knob, okay, acid keeps on falling into it until there is a change in color. You can see here the acid is being dropped, and suddenly when the color changes, we stop the titration. We note down, suppose this is the final reading, we note down the acid which was required to titrate or to neutralize the fixed amount of alkali. So now we know the amount of alkali which is needed for neutralization and the amount of acid. Now what we will do, we will take this fixed amount of acid and alkali and we mix them together to form the salt. So now we can form a soluble salt with the help of titrations. How? By reacting or titrating soluble base with an acid. So here you can see I have taken a soluble base, sodium hydroxide, reacted with acid, sulfuric acid, to form sodium sulfate, and which is a soluble salt. Then next example is NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide, with HCl. It forms sodium chloride, which is again a soluble salt. Similarly, NaOH when reacts with nitric acid forms sodium nitrate and water, and when ammonium hydroxide, which is also a soluble base, reacts with acid to form ammonium chloride and water. So this is how we can form a soluble salt by titrating or by neutralizing a soluble base with an acid. Now let's see the formation of salts by decomposition of soluble and insoluble carbonates by the acids. So here you can see these are soluble carbonates, sodium carbonate, ammonium carbonate, and these are insoluble carbonate, lead carbonates, zinc carbonates and copper carbonate. When they react with different acids like H2SO4, HCl and HNO3, they form respective salts, water and CO2. Now since it is a carbonate, it will form an extra CO2. Okay. So the carbonates, you can see, react with acid to form salt, water and CO2. Now let's talk about the formation of salts from simple displacement method. So displacement method involves the action of dilute acid on an active metal. So if there are active metals like aluminium, magnesium, zinc and iron, then we can react them with dilute acids and form their respective salts, and hydrogen is released. So now let's react zinc with another dilute acid, that is HCl. Then it will form, see, this zinc will go and kick out this hydrogen and will take its place. So we can write ZnCl2. Why ZnCl2? Because Zn has a valency C. Zn has a valency of +2, chlorine has a valency of -1. So when you cross, the formula becomes ZnCl2. and hydrogen has to release. Now just balance the reaction. There are 2 hydrogens here, so make it 2 chlorine, 1 zinc, 1 zinc. Correct? Similarly, we can take some other metal like say magnesium. So when magnesium reacts with sulfuric acid, so this magnesium is active and above hydrogen in the reactivity series, so it can displace hydrogen from its acid. So we can form magnesium sulfate MgSO4. Magnesium is also +2, sulfate is -2, so the formula becomes MgSO4 and hydrogen is released. Now just balance this. This is already balanced. Let's take iron. So when iron suppose reacts with HCl, it should form FeCl2 if we are taking iron of +2 valency, that is ferrous. So this is ferrous chloride and hydrogen is released. Just balance the reaction. Okay. Now suppose we take sulfuric acid. So Fe plus H2SO4. Again same thing happens. This active metal replaces hydrogen from the acid and forms FeSO4 and hydrogen is released. So students, this is how any active metal reacts with a dilute acid and replaces the hydrogen from the acid and forms salt, and hydrogen gas is released. Now let's see the next process of formation of salt, that is by double decomposition or precipitation. Now as the name suggests, it is precipitation, so the salt form should be insoluble, then only it will precipitate. So let's see how it is done. The double decomposition method or double precipitation method is used when 2 soluble solutions yield an insoluble salt. So since it is insoluble, therefore it will get precipitated. So now we have to take 2 soluble solutions. So here I have taken a beaker in which I have taken a salt solution. In another beaker I have taken another salt solution. Say this was salt solution A, this was salt solution B, and I mixed it. So when I mixed it, I saw a white precipitate which has been formed, and this white precipitate is for this insoluble salt. Now once a precipitate is formed, we know that we have got a insoluble salt. So then we filter it using a funnel and a filter paper, and this is the filtrate, and whatever is remaining here is the insoluble salt. So now what we do, we purify this insoluble salt by adding more water, we wash it, and then we keep it in a crucible and dry it in an oven. So first 2 aqueous solution of soluble substances are mixed together. Mixture is filtered to get the precipitate. Filtered precipitate is rinsed or washed with distilled water, and the insoluble salt is placed in a crucible and dried in an oven. Now let's see some examples of this method. So there are 2 salt solution, soluble salt solution 1 and soluble salt solution 2. Okay. So here you can see this is lead nitrate and this is sodium chloride. So what do you do? This is the cation part and this is the anion part. This is cation and this is anion. Just exchange the ions. So if lead comes and takes the place of sodium, okay, sodium will take the place of lead. So let's see. First, lead is taking the position of sodium. So what will happen? It will form PbCl2. Because Pb is +2 and Cl is -1, so PbCl2. Then sodium will take its place. It will form NaNO3. Now children, you should know how the formulas are formed. Okay. So sodium has a valency of +1, NO3 has a valency of -1. So when they exchange, it forms NaNO3. Now in this, the NaNO3 salt is soluble and PbCl2 salt is insoluble. Okay. That is why it is shown by this down arrow, which shows that this salt will be precipitated. Okay. And since this salt is soluble in water, it will be there in the filtrate. Now let's see calcium and sodium. So sodium comes here and calcium goes there. So I can form NaCl and calcium carbonate. Now calcium carbonate is insoluble, so it will be precipitated out. Now again zinc and ammonium carbonate. So if I take ammonium radical here, so I will get ammonium sulfate. Now NH4 is +1 and sulfate is -2. So 2 will come here. So NH4 2 SO4 and zinc carbonate. Zinc is +2 and CO3 is -2. So it will come as it is. And this will get precipitated. Now zinc nitrate and sodium carbonate. So we will form, now if sodium comes here, so we will form sodium nitrate, NaNO3 and zinc carbonate. Zinc carbonate. We know zinc carbonate is insoluble. We have already learned in our previous slides that which are soluble and which are insoluble. Right? Now here lead and sodium gets exchanged. So I get sodium nitrate again, which is soluble, and lead sulfate, PbSO4, which is insoluble and will get precipitated out. So this way we take two solutions which are soluble, we mix them together, we get two different salts by double decomposition, out of which one is insoluble. So we will filter this out and this will be available in the filtrate as it is soluble. Now the next method is preparation of insoluble salt from another insoluble salt. So we have to prepare an insoluble salt which will precipitate out from another insoluble salt. Now this salt is insoluble. See here what we have done. Here we have taken two salts which were soluble. That is why we could make a solution of it and then we can mix it. But here we have got an insoluble salt. So how to do this? First what we will do, we will make this insoluble salt soluble. We will convert the insoluble salt into a soluble salt. How we will do that? We will convert the insoluble salt to a soluble salt using dilute nitric acid. So we will use dilute nitric acid and make a nitrate of it, and we know nitrates are soluble. And then we will continue the preparation as shown previously. So now, what we will do, we will take an insoluble salt, react it with dilute nitric acid and convert it into soluble salt. Okay. So let's see. Our example 1 is preparation of lead chloride which is insoluble from lead oxide which is also insoluble. So what we will do, we will convert into soluble salt. So let's take lead oxide, react it with dilute HNO3, that is dilute nitric acid. So what will happen? This lead will replace this hydrogen. So we will get lead nitrate, PbNO3 whole twice and water. Now we have got this nitrate. Now this is a soluble salt. So now what we can do, we will take this lead nitrate and react it with another soluble salt. Say we can take NaCl, and when we react it, we will get lead chloride and sodium nitrate. So in this way we have got a insoluble PbCl2 which will precipitate out. Now let's see another example, preparation of lead sulfate from lead carbonate. Now the issue is lead carbonate is insoluble. So we will take lead carbonate and we will treat it with dilute nitric acid, dilute HNO3. Again same thing will happen. We will get lead nitrate, we will get water, and since there is a carbonate here, we will also get a CO2. Let's balance it first. Here also we had not balanced, so we should balance it. This is 2, this is 2. Okay. Now, first let's balance. CO2 is there. So, this should be 2 HNO3. Right. So, now we have got lead nitrate which is soluble. So, let's take this lead nitrate. Now, I have to form lead sulfate, right? So, I can't react it with NaCl, I will have to react it with any sulfate. So, let's take sodium sulfate. So, now let's exchange. So, we will get lead sulfate which will precipitate out, and we will also get sodium nitrate. Let's see our third example, preparation of lead chloride from lead carbonate. So again we have got lead carbonate, PbCO3. We will react it with dilute HNO3 and we will get lead nitrate, water and CO2. Right? So now we will take this lead nitrate, PbNO3 whole twice. Now just see what we want to prepare, chloride, lead chloride. So I will have to react it with any chloride salt which is soluble. So I take NaCl. Now I can form lead chloride, PbCl2 which will precipitate, and what is left? Sodium nitrate which is soluble. So in this method, first we have to convert the insoluble salt into soluble salt, and then we can use our normal double decomposition. So students, this was all about salts, the different types of salts and the general methods of preparation of salt. Please watch our next videos for general properties of salts, and that would be the last video of the chapter acid, bases and salts. I hope you understood all the concepts very well. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and write in the comment section below. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, do it right away and don't forget to tap on the bell icon. Thank you and keep the learning on.